So let's start off just with a bit of background. What can you tell me about Maxicon in terms of what's the market like for you guys down there, and what kind of projects do you guys specialize in?
Excellent. So Maxicon started about 15 years ago in Miami. But in reality, our idea of a company, started when we were 13 years old. One of my partners and I, we were very, interested in technology. So we did, all the lighting scenes, for a theater company and in our own school. And we created, our own private circuit TV channel to transmit programs. So that's where really Maxicon started. It's where our DNA is. We started, with looking at security equipment, and we evolved into AV immediately. Within a year, I believe we were already representing big lighting companies and speaker companies, and entertainment became the most important part of our business. Our business has been growing continuously, and we've been adding probably a 20% increase every year.
Wow.
Before the pandemic, we were actually in very good shape to even grow another 20% this year. And I will tell at the moment that the lockdown hit us, we were extremely worried. We were, trying to figure out how to change our business plan. So we invested a lot of time in working different scenarios. Now, as a month.
Now, Andres, what were the typical customers like in terms of, I know that, there are a lot of high rises down there. Were you dealing with a lot of those types, or mostly kind of single family detached houses and those homeowners?
So our market is actually mixed. Miami is known for high-rise condos, but we have some amazing properties, specifically over the water. So our mix today is actually probably about 70% single homes and 30% condos.
Okay.
And you see the trend that people are actually moving out of the condos and investing in big properties in different areas of Miami. We have that fortune.
Do you do marine installs as well?
We do not. We only cater, a couple of marine customers just because they ask us. But marine installations is not our forte.
Okay, so you keep it to the land.
Yes.
All right. So you were talking about in terms of business, before and once the pandemic hit, in terms of how you've had to work some changes, and tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, we started, looking at our business plan. We were supposed to hit, another 20% increase in sales this year. We were geared to actually get more employees in order to actually hit that particular number. And listen, we were actually at ISC in the Netherlands when this all started, and then we went to Vegas, for a ProSource Summit. And we never thought, that so quickly, so fast, things will close down immediately. So for about a month, we thought that we might have probably a 20 or 30% or 40% even, decrease in our sales. But what we started working is, with customers and started to see, what they were thinking about their projects. So yes, we had a delay because job sites were closed. But within a month, we saw that our customers were asking to increase their entertainment. So we saw opportunities immediately.
Okay, that's great to hear, because that's, some of what we were hearing as well in terms of, people being at home during the quarantine. They wanted entertainment.
Yes.
So in terms of some of that customer demand, what can you tell me about what some of the customers were prioritizing, kind of the trending before the pandemic, and then, now during it, in terms of technology demand, in terms of, what we've read a lot about, like some of those, the home networking, home entertainment, security, things like that. How is that all looking for your company?
Correct. I believe, before the pandemic, customers will look at whole house solutions. They were never focused on specific areas of the system or of the house for entertainment. So of course, we now it's easier for us to sell the higher end networking products because all of us are actually using it at home with all of our families at the same time. And now customers understand, wow, that pipeline that you were talking to me about is real. I need bigger infrastructure. And then came out the media room or the theater. And we started to actually receive calls from customers that were desperate to actually upgrade their systems. So we had customers that wanted bigger screens. That gave us the opportunity to discuss about better sound, and customers that were in projects that were not actually built yet. They started calling us and say, listen, I think I want to have that dedicated room that you talked about. I want to understand what a dedicated theater will look like, because we are not sure, when we want to go back, to a theater anytime soon. So those two areas plus outdoor living have become extremely important and have giving us the opportunity to do easier education in terms of the products that are available, and better understanding on why use performance products instead of standard retail, between retail and custom products. Our customers are appreciating more that particular idea. So those are three growth segments of our projects. That's a shift.
Great. So I know you guys have been a Stealth Acoustics dealer for a while, and I know just from looking at some of the projects that you've submitted for our awards programs in the past, that you guys are very design-minded, and there seems to be a lot of that trying to balance between aesthetic demand and performance. So in terms of designing some of these projects and dealing with the homeowners, how is that work for you guys, trying to cater to those demands? And also, how much do you guys deal with the architect and design community in terms of figuring out what kind of products will fit into that balance of aesthetics and performance?
Correct. So in terms of invisible speakers, and specifically on Stealth Acoustics, we've been selling invisible sound for probably more than 12 years. It's been a long road, since we started, and we wanted to differentiate ourselves with a product that we know specifiers love and the women of the house love. So, presenting an invisible speaker for the specifier and for the wife of the houses was actually very easy, but we needed to convince the person who wanted performance, who asked us, do you think that I'm going to lose, performance if I go with this particular speaker? And then came, the importance of having a showroom and to demonstrate this particular technology. So that was the initial problem that we had when we were selling. We didn't have a showroom. We didn't have a place for people to listen to the high performance of this particular speakers. Stealth Acoustics, complete line of speakers, actually provide to our customers. And there's no doubt that every customer wants to reach that particular idea of invisible technology. They want that sound to come out of nowhere. I mean, if we look at spaceships, and futuristic movies, we've never seen speaker grills. Where's the sound coming from? Right?
Right. It's just out there.
It's out there. It's been out there forever. So that idea of making the sound invisible, it's actually something that we all had in our minds forever. And I think the problem that our community has is that they think that maybe it's too difficult to install, too difficult, that might have a performance problem, that they might have down in the road that might break the drywall or the ceiling. And those are just problems that we have in our heads. Okay. Like everything, you have to own it. You have to know, you have to learn, how to install this particular types of speakers, and the profits are absolutely there. We're making much more money, 3 times more money, by installing invisible speakers, not only on the product, but also on the labor. So what we have actually put together is a process to make sure that every installation goes well. And this is where 15 years of selling invisible speakers comes through. Framing for us is important. So we have a team that knows how to frame the speakers perfectly well, and we do our own patching work. But we have also worked directly with our general contractors and with their drywall team to teach them how to actually do the scheme of the speakers to be perfectly fine and to get and achieve a level 5 finish.
So what are some of the biggest challenges then in terms of the design, knowing where to put these speakers, and the actual installation, and getting rid of moving any kind of wiring around or conduit or anything like that?
No, we never had a problem, with conduit, the pre-wiring, the rough part of invisible speakers. In reality, the only addition that you're doing is installing, and framing, a back box. And again, what this is, it turns out in more profit for us. Yes, it's an additional piece. Yes, it's additional labor. It's more profit, for the company. And, at the end of the day, it provides us the opportunity to do things that maybe we were not able to do it in a very high modern house. I'll tell you a story. I came, with an architect and a designer who tells me grade room, which is about, it's about 4,000 square feet open grade room, very modern, very high-end lighting. And he tells me, I want to build an invisible theater in this particular space. I don't want it to look like this is actually a great room by itself. I wanted to convert it in a small, entertainment space with good sound and a complete invisible system. So we did a projection system, and we put, Stealth Acoustics, for this invisible, system for sound. And the architect loves it so much that it became part of every design that he's actually bringing to his customers. So now that particular grade room, has been replicated, probably about 10 times already since we installed it. Because the idea that that the customers can actually use that space to entertain, not only for music, but also to use it, for video. And it's all invisible because projection, screen, and sound, specifically sound, is 100% invisible. Provides, a very unique experience. And
Right.
and before, when you speak creatively to our interior designers or architects, if the technology is not invisible, they are not very interested in. They get scared. They're looking, at the lighting fixture, which might be costing, between $300 and $900, and then next to it, we have a grill, which doesn't add to their experience.
Right. So they don't want to see that at all. So basically, you've been able to do some of your work with it just by winning over architects and designers and showing them how good these things look, or just basically having them disappeared, and then they're able to take that to their clients then and say, hey, we did this job over here. This is something that you should have in your house.
Yeah, we have placed invisible speakers in our specifiers home, so they have become a viral voice for our invisible solutions. And I can tell you that this is an automatic specification on the designer when they're building, when they're designing their space. they know they want to talk about invisible speaker automatically. Tell the interior designer to speak about any brand of speaker. It doesn't happen. But if it is invisible, this is actually something that is adding a lot of value to their design. This is specified automatically. We don't have to do much after that. And again, what we need to win is the performance, experience. And this is where we bring our customers to the showroom so they can experience, the different types of speakers that we have available from Stealth Acoustics.
And do you put invisible speakers in both dedicated theaters as well as multi-zone audio installations?
Yes, we do actually dedicated theaters and media rooms. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
And so on average then, in terms of those projects, what percentage would you say use invisible speakers and what percentage use, traditional architectural speakers with the grills?
Well, 100% of our jobs will have at least 1 or 2 zones with invisible speakers.
Wow.
At least 1 or 2 zones are always going to be invisible. So, in that sense, we have projects that are probably 80% invisible. That's not the majority. But, we will have, at least 20% of every job that we're doing within invisible zones.
And are these, for the theaters, are we still talking typical, front speakers, surround speakers, height speakers? And for multi-zones, is it, how many do you typically put in per zone? Is it a couple? Is it 3 or 4? Do they,
Yeah, great rooms actually normally have at least 4 to 8 speakers, and we always pair it with subwoofers. Our particular media room solutions, you will see we have a very important trend of having surround and Atmos speakers to be invisible. So that's actually something that it's happening every day. And just today in the morning, I actually received a call asking, again, this is a job that is about 15,000 square feet house in the beach. We pre-wire it and put pre-construction brackets for regular speakers. And now that the house is actually, the ceiling is actually done, and he's looking at the hi-hats, he says, I don't want to have grill speakers. I want everything to be invisible. So we see a huge trend. Specifically, it's been paired, with the looks that we can provide in terms of lighting fixtures. And designers don't want to actually pair the size of a grill with a lighting fixture. They just want it invisible because their lighting fixture, it's already taking all the attention. You don't want another device to take the attention of that high-end light fixture. And this is something that has been happening for the past 2 years. We do see that the designers not only see the invisible speaker as something great to have, but specifically on the ceiling, since lighting fixtures are gaining a lot of presence in our designs and their designs. We want to keep that lighting fixture, that lighting fixture attention, as primary. And what better way to clean the ceiling with that than to use a Stealth Acoustics speaker.
Now, when you bring the specifiers to the showroom and the customers to the showroom, just curious, is it something where you kind of surprise them with the sound? Do you tell them that, hey, step into this room, we're going to play something for you?
Yes.
And how does that work?
So we normally use a voice activated sound experience. So we're trying to bring the touchless experience to that particular room, and we have a good, better, best in-ceiling speakers, and we also have invisible. So the speaker that normally starts the demo is actually the invisible speakers. And what happens is that they are listening to a sound and they start to look at the ceiling, and they ask which speaker is the one that they're actually listening to. And when we said, you're not listening to any of the speakers, it's coming from the wall. What do you mean? So, you know, we do what we call the touch the sound demo. Feel the, you know, the vibrations, you know, of the speaker just where it is installed. And they get, you know, wow, immediately, you know, they think, I can't believe, you know, that I'm listening to this quality of sound, you know, from the wall. And then we switch them to show them, okay, let me show you how in-ceiling speakers sound like. And they say that's where they get convinced, oh my God, you know, so this speaker is behind the wall, then maybe in a few seconds I thought, you know, that it can be, you know, the same performance as one in the ceiling, you know, can sound so good. So a lot of people say, yes, I want you to quote me this, you know, and we'll start with, like I said, you know, two zones of the house. And as we actually move and work with the specifier, this can be, you know, 80% of your installation.